On the day the light dimmed, I set things in motion. I knew there would be fighting. I knew there would be death. The wraiths, enraged by the darkened sun, would take the innocent. But I took that bet. A gamble with a steep price. Hoping that they would awaken.
It's been quite some time since I last engaged with the game without having been exposed to a single trailer or gameplay video beforehand. This changed about a month ago when I stumbled upon Atlas Fallen on Steam's roster of upcoming releases. Intrigued by its association with Deck 13 as the developer and Focus Entertainment as the publisher, my interest was piqued. Deck 13 has created impressive titles such as the Search series and Lords of the Fallen, while Focus Entertainment are the publishers behind a Plague Tale series. All of these are fantastic titles that I have thoroughly enjoyed in the past. Seeing these reputable names, I wasted no time in making the purchase. While my experience with Atlas Fallen has for the most part been satisfactory, I must admit it falls short in several aspects, and the game's overall presentation lacks finesse and falls short of showcasing the best works from these reputed organizations. Throughout my 15 plus hour journey through the main storyline, my feelings towards this game evolved into a complex love-hate relationship. To be candid, my initial impressions were far from favorable. The opening segments of the storyline and the narrative derailed my engagement, leading me to question my decision to invest in the game merely an hour into it. The entirety of that first hour, encompassing the prologue, felt absolutely terrible. The storyline lacked originality, the narrative failed to engage, in-game interactions and cutscenes proved cringeworthy, voice acting fell to an abysmal low, and character animation struck an oddly unnatural note. Essentially, every aspect proved to be underwhelming, prompting me to exit the game and postpone further play. Don't get me wrong, because over time my sentiments towards the game did evolve. As I continued my adventure, I found myself developing an affinity for it. I recognize that certain games require a gradual build-up, and I am rather fond of titles that introduce a prologue to establish narrative foundations before immersing players into the true challenges of the game world. Nonetheless, this introductory phase must be executed skillfully to captivate and engross players rather than dissuade them, which regrettably was my initial impression of Atlas Fallen. Before long, the game's exhilarating high-paced intensity, coupled with its distinctive mobility and momentum-driven combat, strikes you with such a revitalizing force that all the major negatives fade into the background. As players embark on their journey, they assume the role of an unnamed, a class occupying the lowest rung of hierarchy in the desolate, sand-ravaged realm of Atlas. This forsaken populace is ruthlessly exploited by the thousand-year-old queen, who rules over Atlas under the tenets of the merciless sun god Thelos. Amidst this grim backdrop, a transformative moment occurs when you acquire an ancient relic of unparalleled power in the form of a partially broken gauntlet that houses the soul of Niall. This enigmatic entity assists you in comprehending the relic's potential and guides you in restoring it to its former magnificence. As your journey unfolds, you gradually carve out a reputation for yourself as the Gauntlet Bearer, emerging as a beacon of liberty and freedom for the inhabitants of Atlas. This newfound renown ignites a unifying spirit among the oppressed populace, compelling them to rally against the queen's tyranny and liberate the land from the grip of Thelos' dogma and worship.
You have set high expectations. I can only hope you deliver.
This storyline itself holds a certain degree of intrigue, complete with a few unexpected turns. Nevertheless, it's the execution of the narrative and its overall presentation that diminish its impact. I've encountered storylines that were arguably less intriguing but were elevated through masterful presentation, resulting in memorable and thoroughly enjoyable experiences. Unfortunately, Atlas Fallen falls short in this regard. With lackluster cutscenes, subpar voice acting, forgettable background music, cringe inducing dialogues, and a roster of predominantly uninteresting characters. Regrettably, these elements impede the full enjoyment and appreciation of the game's other remarkable qualities. And this is where the love aspect of my complex relationship with this game comes into play. The two areas where this game truly excels are traversal and combat. Firstly, the traversal mechanics are truly distinctive. Atlas's landscape is largely comprised of sand, and the developers have ingeniously harnessed this element. You are able to slide across most regions, seamlessly moving from one point to another. The sheer thrill and exhilaration this brings is consistently captivating, maintaining its charm throughout the entire gameplay.
There's a passage ahead.
You mean a hole? Wait!
Trust me.
Equally innovative and enjoyable is the combat system, and Deck 13 has truly outdone themselves in crafting a definitive style. Throughout your journey in Atlas, you'll encounter various raids that are sand-based creatures that steadily evolve in complexity and challenge. The basic raids initially encountered get you acquainted to the game's mechanics, and as you get comfortable, the game throws tougher challenges by introducing formidable opponents with individual body parts requiring targeted breakdown for victory. This aspect is reminiscent of the Horizon series, and the developers have clearly taken inspiration from it while still maintaining a distinctive flair by putting emphasis on melee-heavy combat as opposed to Horizon's ranged focus. Moreover, the combat revolves around momentum. Each strike on an enemy accumulates momentum, enhancing subsequent attacks. However, maintaining high momentum renders you vulnerable to enemy assaults, creating a dynamic risk-reward balance. This unique interplay constantly stimulates strategic contemplation, lending the combat an engaging edge. The momentum gauge consists of 3 stages, each unlocking specific active abilities and passive enhancements using essence stones equipped on your gauntlet. These stones encompass an array of damage, defense, momentum generation, healing, and crowd control functionalities. Scattered throughout Atlas, Essence Stones offer diverse customization options for tailoring your combat strategy to different encounters. The weapons play a pivotal role in combat. You are afforded the luxury of 2 equipped weapons at any given time, selected from a trio of options. The Dune Cleaver, a versatile axe-cum-hammer, deals massive damage and possesses the unique ability to shatter crystallized adversaries with a potent shattering attack. The Sand Whip, an amalgamation of sword and whip, excels in swift attacks suitable for both close and mid-range combat. Last but not the least, the Knuckle Dust is a nimble damage-dealing fist weapon designed for one-to-one engagements. Mastery in combat lies in combining and alternating between these weapons depending on the encounters and conjuring impressive and visually captivating combos that synchronize seamlessly with the momentum build-up. All these well-designed components are cohesive and come together to offer a combat experience that is not only distinct but also refreshing, challenging, and above all, incredibly enjoyable. The graphics and art design within Atlas Fallen can be described as decent yet not particularly awe-inspiring. The diverse regions depicted in the game exhibit a pleasing appearance when viewed from a distance, but the intricacies of textures tend to falter upon closer inspection. Character models for players and NPCs exhibit stiffness and a lack of personality, and their animations lack the vibrancy and personality necessary for keeping the players engrossed. Unfortunately, the subpar voice acting further diminishes any potential charisma these characters could possess.
I'm glad to see you. Our scouts say you confronted the Wraiths on the way to the Watcher. Your powers are truly impressive. I thank you.
In stark contrast, the wide array of sand wraiths is a testament to a well-conceived design, offering distinct appearances and a wealth of personality. Their animations and accompanying sound effects are noteworthy, giving rise to encounters that genuinely capture attention. It's almost as if the developers poured all their creative energy into designing the various enemy types and had nothing left over for the remainder of the inhabitants of Atlas. Even on the audio front, the soundtrack fails to serve as a standout feature. While it does capture the intended ambience adequately, it lacks the impactful resonance and fails to establish a lasting, memorable impression. On the whole, my love-hate dynamic with this game appears to be well-founded. Undoubtedly, the game excels in its central pillars of traversal and combat, showcasing sparks of sheer brilliance by the developers. However, it becomes evident that these facets receive the lion's share of attention. While these facets undoubtedly dominate the gameplay experience throughout the main storyline, it's hard to overlook the potential that was left untapped in almost all other aspects of the game. This gives rise to a sense of incompleteness, lack of cohesion, and an overall lack of polish. Consequently, I give Atlas Fallen a rare rating on my scale. Despite the game's obvious shortcomings, it still manages to offer a high degree of enjoyment, and I would certainly recommend it to those who relish the thrills of high-intensity, action-packed gameplay. However, waiting for a sale to purchase it might be a wise move to save some cash. In case you have had a chance to play Atlas Fallen, I invite you to share your perspectives in the comment section below. I'm genuinely curious to learn whether your impressions align with mine or if you had a different experience altogether. And as always, for more gaming content and reviews, make sure to follow and subscribe to Luthra's Loot.
Captain! It's the Queen!
You need to leave. Now! Faster! Faster!